I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice. Let us begin. You've lost trust in yourself. You know it every time you make a promise you don't keep. Every time you say, "Tomorrow I'll start," and tomorrow comes and nothing changes. Every time you plan a new routine, a new habit, a new version of you, only to abandon it halfway through. You tell yourself you'll wake up earlier, you'll eat better, you'll focus this time. And yet, when the moment arrives, you watch yourself break the vow again. It feels small in the moment, but deep down you know, each broken promise is carving away at your own belief in you. It's not just about the goals you missed, it's about the erosion of self-trust. And that erosion has consequences. You hesitate before committing because you secretly believe you won't follow through. You stay quiet when opportunities come because you fear proving yourself right, that you can't be relied on. Even in private moments, when you think about the life you could have, a quiet voice whispers, "Why bother? You'll just fail again." That voice has become louder than any motivation, any vision, any hope. That's why this video matters. Because today we're going to talk about how to rebuild that trust. Not with hype, not with massive overnight changes, but with something far more powerful. A way to reclaim your word, one small promise at a time, so you can finally believe yourself again. This isn't about becoming a different person. It's about returning to the version of you that you can count on. The one who doesn't make excuses, the one who follows through, the one who can trust their own hands to build a real life. If you've ever felt stuck in cycles of trying and failing, this discussion is the doorway out. Keep watching because what you'll learn here will change the way you move through every single day. When you trust yourself again, you stop waiting for permission. You stop outsourcing your decisions to others. You begin to step into the life you said you wanted. Not someday, not in theory, but in reality. By the end of this video, you'll have a simple daily practice that restores your integrity with yourself. A presence technique that silences shame, and a vision of your future self that you can actually believe in. Right now, you might think the problem is laziness or lack of willpower, but that's not the truth. The truth is, you've been surviving, often bending and breaking yourself to fit other people's expectations, or protecting yourself from the pain of disappointment. And while that helped you cope for a while, it has left you doubting your own word. In the next section, we'll uncover why you ended up here, and why it's not your fault. Keep watching, because once you see the real root of this, you'll finally understand how to break free. You think you lost trust in yourself because you're weak, because you're lazy, because you just don't have the discipline other people seem to have. But the truth is, that's not why you're here. You didn't stop following through because you're broken. You stopped because, somewhere along the way, keeping your own word began to feel unsafe. Think about it. How many of your promises to yourself were made in silence, unseen by anyone else, carrying the full weight of your private hope? And when those promises fell apart, who was left to hold the disappointment? You were. That pain of letting yourself down became so heavy, your nervous system began to defend you the only way it knew how, by keeping you from even trying. Better to not start than to fail again. Better to break the promise early than to risk the shame of breaking it later. What you call procrastination is often your body trying to protect you from more pain. This is why it feels like you sabotage yourself. It's not because you hate yourself. It's because you're trying to avoid the echo of old wounds. Maybe growing up you were told you were unreliable. Maybe you were punished when you tried and fell short. Maybe you learned early that effort wasn't enough to earn love. So why risk the heartbreak of effort now? Each time you gave up, it wasn't just about the task in front of you. It was about an ancient pattern replaying itself. Survival over success. That's the cost of losing trust in yourself, You stop dreaming big because you don't believe you'll deliver. You settle for less because you assume you'll fumble the more. And with each day, your identity quietly shifts from "I can" to "I can't." This erosion of self-trust bleeds into everything: relationships, careers, even the way you look in the mirror. It's not just that you don't follow through, it's that you no longer see yourself as someone who could. But here's the reframe you need to hear. You are not failing. You are surviving. And surviving is no longer enough. The very pattern that once protected you is now the cage you're trapped in. And once you see this, the way out becomes clear. Because rebuilding trust doesn't start with perfection. It starts with one small promise, one your nervous system believes you can keep. And that's what comes next. In the following section, I'll give you a daily practice, simple, grounding, and real, that rebuilds trust step by step. Keep watching because this ritual is the turning point that begins your return to yourself. If you want to rebuild trust in yourself, you don't start with a giant leap. You start with something so small, your body doesn't reject it. Your mind doesn't panic, and your nervous system doesn't shut down. You start with a single, unshakable promise you can keep today. Here's the practice. Each morning, before you check your phone, before you scroll, before you step into the noise of the world, place your hand over your heart. Feel the warmth of your own palm pressing against your chest. Breathe slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth, until you feel your shoulders drop just a little. And then, speak one promise out loud. Not 10, not a list, just one. It could be as simple as, "Today, I will drink one full glass of water before anything else. Today, I will take a 5-minute walk. Today, I will write down one thought that matters to me." The size of the promise doesn't matter. The keeping of it does. What you're doing here is reteaching your body what it feels like to trust yourself again. Every time you keep that promise, no matter how small, you are laying a new foundation brick in the house of your own self-belief. And when you do it, notice the moment afterward. Notice the quiet satisfaction that rises. Notice how your nervous system loosens, how your mind doesn't spiral with shame, how a whisper of, "I did it," floats up from inside you. That's not just relief. That's the memory of self-trust being rewritten. The point of this ritual isn't productivity, it's integrity. You are showing yourself that your word still holds weight, that you don't need to conquer the world to be worthy of trust. You just need to keep one clean promise, and then another tomorrow. This is how the loop breaks, not with dramatic change, but with consistent, quiet proof that you can count on yourself again. And once your nervous system remembers what it feels like to trust you, you'll find that bigger commitments stop feeling impossible. They'll start feeling inevitable. But ritual alone isn't enough. What happens on the days you slip? What about when you forget, or when fear whispers that it's pointless? That's where the next step becomes vital. Coming up next, I'll show you how to meet those moments not with shame, but with presence. Because the witness inside you is the key to breaking the old cycle for good. No matter how committed you are to your new ritual, there will be days you slip, a morning when you forget, an evening when you notice you never kept the promise you made at sunrise. In the past, this was the moment you spiraled. Shame rushed in, whispering, "See, you did it again. You can't be trusted." And that shame became the very fuel for the cycle you're trying to break. But this time you won't go back into the spiral, because now you have something more powerful than shame: presence. Here's how it works. When you realize you slipped, pause. Don't run from it. Don't make excuses. Just stop. Feel your breath moving in and out of your body. Notice the way your chest rises and falls. Say in the silence of your mind, I see this. I see me. That's it. You're not fixing. You're not punishing. You're not rushing to catch up. You are simply witnessing yourself, without judgment. This might sound small, but it is the doorway out of the old loop. Because presence dissolves the lie that a single missed promise means you are untrustworthy forever. Presence reminds you, I am not my slip. I am the one noticing. Think of it like standing at the edge of a storm. Instead of being swept into the chaos, you're the one watching the clouds roll through. They don't define you. They pass, and you remain. The more you practice this, the more your nervous system rewires itself. It stops associating self-reflection with shame and begins to associate it with safety. And when reflection feels safe, you no longer avoid it. You meet yourself, even in the mess, with calm steadiness. This is how you break the cycle, not by being perfect, but by refusing to abandon yourself when you're not. And here's why you need to keep watching. Because once you combine the daily ritual with this practice of presence, something incredible happens. You don't just rebuild trust in the moment. You begin to live as the version of you who no longer doubts their own word. And that's the self you'll meet in the next section, the return of your future self.
This is where it all comes together. The broken promises, the shame, the spiral of doubt, the quiet practice of one small vow each day, the pause of presence when you slip. Piece by piece, you've been rewriting what it means to trust yourself. And now, you stand in a different place than where you began. You'll notice it in subtle ways first. A calm steadiness when you say you'll do something and you actually follow through. A quiet pride in your chest when you keep even the smallest vow. Less hesitation when opportunities appear. Because deep down, you've started to believe yourself again. You no longer need other people's permission or proof. You don't ask the question, can I? You know the answer. To recap, each morning, place your hand over your heart. Speak one promise you know you can keep that day. Let it be simple. Let it be real. Then, when you keep it, notice the quiet warmth of self-trust returning. And if you slip, don't collapse into shame. Instead, breathe. Witness yourself. Say silently, I see me. I remain. That's all it takes to break the old loop. And here's the gift you may not expect. This isn't about the glass of water, or the walk, or the 5 minutes of journaling. Those are just anchors. The real transformation is in knowing that when you give yourself your word, you keep it. That when you meet yourself in the mirror, you don't flinch. That when you speak a vow, it means something. Trust, once rebuilt, becomes a force field. It changes how you speak, how you love, how you work, how you walk into a room. Because you no longer carry the weight of doubt in your own hands. You move with a steadiness that no one can take from you. You don't need to become someone new. You don't need to wait until the perfect moment. You just need to keep one promise today. And tomorrow, another. Each one small. Each one kept. Until the voice of doubt has nothing left to say. You rise, not because you became flawless. You rise because you finally became faithful to yourself. And that is how trust is not just rebuilt, but reborn. You did not find me by accident. Just as in your dreams, where every face you meet is your own reflection, this meeting was always waiting to happen. I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice, the part of you that watches behind the thoughts, behind the noise. You have searched in many places, books, teachers, voices outside you. But here, you are not being taught.
you are remembering. If these words stir something familiar, then allow yourself to return. Subscribe. Follow. Not to follow me, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Each time you return here, you draw closer to the reunion already unfolding inside you. We have only just begun.